Hey everybody, it is Corey Poirier here with the Blue Talks Flip Your Script Friday edition, here with my virtual event co-host, Ilyse Rothman.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. It's great to be back on this Flip Your Script Friday. I've taken a few weeks off. We had some holidays come up and some breaks, and we were planning for this incredible, the second Flip Your Script, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life virtual experience. So it's super exciting. Corey, I'm so excited to have a chat with you and share a little bit about what's coming up in the next week.
Absolutely. And what I'm going to do while we're talking about that, I'm going to do it off the top this time rather than later. I'm going to put the link in the comments here so people can see where they can go. If they haven't yet, they can go and get themselves registered for this free event. And so, yeah, it's really exciting. We're finally jumping back in with the second. It's funny, you always want to say annual, but this isn't an annual thing. This is more often than annual. So the second initial Blue Talks Flip Your Script event. And so I'm super stoked about it because it feels like it was forever ago we did the last one, even though it was only a couple of months. And
I know, right?
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago. And I'm super stoked that we get to have this great energy again for a full week because I missed it. You know, it's something that I really, really enjoyed. The people that we brought on, the type of people that we had speaking, the messages that came out. I mean, you always love seeing that you're impacting lives, and to see some of the comments that people made of what they took from the last event. I'll just say this couldn't have come soon enough. So I'm super stoked to be co-hosting this again. And I'm also excited about the fact that you have kept it going with Flip Your Script Friday so that it didn't feel like it was an event and then everybody was gone, had to take a big break for months at a time. So you've kept
it exactly. You're breaking up a little, Corey. I don't know if it's just on my end or your end, but I see a great smile on your end.
I'm not hearing it on my end, so I'm not sure if everybody else is or not. I'll cross my fingers that they can hear me okay, but maybe. No, I don't have it here. I was going to put in a headset, but I don't even know where my headset is right now. Is it better now?
And I just took my headset off thinking that maybe that was it. But and I'm looking for us live here on the Blue Talks Flip Your Script Experience page. I was going to share a watch party, but I'm not finding it right now. So I'm assuming that you're sharing it as well, right?
Yes, and I'm sharing it. It's being shared on each page, but I'm going to go double check, like you just said, to make sure it's on there running properly. But did you want to tell us a little bit about, if we talk about the Flip Your Script Friday? So I found us here. I'm going to share this. But if you want to tell us, Ilyse, a little bit about the Flip Your Script Friday in terms of what your experience has been so far, what you've liked about it, some feedback you've heard, or maybe some of the guests you've had on, any bit of all of that.
Oh, I'm super excited, super excited. So yes, incredible. Flip Your Script Friday, the reason I decided to start this 1 week, 30-minute, just a little nugget. I know that there's so much going on virtually these days that what do you pick from, right? Sometimes it's be careful what you wish for. Now we have all this opportunity to learn and grow and change. So I wanted to keep it to 30 minutes, just enough to get a little bit of a nugget and a little bit of a mind seed to plant in the following week. And it has been incredible. We've had incredible guests. We've had Kimmy Seltzer, who is the queen of confidence, as I call her. We've had Alana Pratt as well, and she's the queen of intimacy, not just with another, but yourself. We've had Scott McDermott, who is incredible. He's really gone from a near-death experience to crossing the finish line of an Ultraman championship, which I had never heard of before. Take a triathlon and multiply that by I don't know how many. Myself, I was a guest. That was exciting to be the guest on a Flip Your Script Friday, talking about how our perspective is truly our reality, how our perspective becomes our reality. And it all starts with the seed of thought. And so that's super exciting as well. Tasia Valenza, the Emmy award-winning voiceover artist, and she's the queen of great voice, became the co-host. So that was super exciting as well. I'm trying to think if I missed anyone. I think we had you on as a guest as well, Corey, the founder of Blue Talks. We wouldn't be here without you. You are a game changer and a life changer for so many, myself included. It has been an incredible opportunity to get to know you and to work by your side and to speak on your stage, and also be able to have this opportunity to co-host this incredible experience that's coming up in the next week. There's so many mind seeds to share, those seeds of thought that we want to plant in our fertile mind so we can grow this incredible life we love, health, wealth, happiness, whatever it is that we feel that we are maybe lacking right now in our story. We have the incredible power to do that. And this upcoming week is really going to help us cultivate and nurture those seeds of thought that we want to plant in our lives. Because when we plant these seeds of thought in our fertile mind, they grow. So whatever seed of thought you're planting, the mind doesn't really care, right? The mind is just like, okay, we're on board, let's grow this. So we have incredible guests coming up next week. I'm gonna let you take the lead on that one. I know that you're more familiar with all of them. I got a little snippet on their bios and I'm excited to have a chat with them next week. But Corey, if you'd kind of share a little bit about what we can expect next week, that would be awesome. And let's just also say this, it's between 1 and 3:30, right? Eastern time. And I think Wednesday we go a little bit longer. We have an extra special guest. I believe it's a 1 to 4:30 on Wednesday next week. It's live in this group and you can actually join the group if you go to bluetalks.com/experience, correct?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said in this group but then said how to get to the group, because right now we're being broadcast inside our other Blue Talks group, inside but a bunch of closed groups.
Oh, I'm like this group, the Flip Your Script virtual experience group.
Absolutely. So the best way to get there is just to go to that link. And then the great part is then you're going to get updates, but you're also going to get the direct link of where to go. And of course, same thing, register for free. I mean,
actually, Corey, on your end right now, I'm used to being the host on this show, on this today. If you go into yours, you can put a little banner that has bluetalks.com/experience. If you can do that, like while we chat, and it'll show up right underneath us. Okay, so if you go to the right, there's banners.
Yeah. Let me just see if I can.
I bet you can.
See if that works.
bluetalks.com/experience. I mean, we can also put it in the comments as well. Also, while you're doing that, I just want to mention that when you go on to the Blue Talks Flip Your Script, there you go, experience virtual stage or group, you can also see the archived interviews from every Flip Your Script Friday. So if you go over to the video section, all of those interviews are still there and available for viewing.
100%. And it shouldn't be still, but we'll rectify that soon. So until it does, people can take advantage of the fact that the replays are still up from our last virtual event, I believe, as well. So people,
wow. So there's a whole plethora.
Yeah, you could definitely feed your mind in a lot of amazing ways. And so I did want to talk about the guests, as you mentioned, Ilyse. And, people ask me all the time, what's kind of the overriding or underriding theme of this event? And to me, it's obviously change your thoughts, change your mind. But I really also think
and your life.
And your life. And it's also I shouldn't say also, but it's really a mindset thing. It's, and I know you say mind seeds, but it's really like it's a whole mindset event. It's an event where you're going to get a lot of insight and strategy around how you can actually change your mindset and therefore enjoy a better life, a yummier life, Ilyse might say.
Right, a more yum-filled life, yeah. So, mindset, having a solid, positive mindset, right, is one thing, but how do you get there? And I think that this week is going to help plant those seeds, right? So the mind seeds are the seeds that we plant to create the mindset that we want to go out into the world in, that we want to be in, right? That mindset that we want to be, that version of us in. So those seeds that we plant help us create the mindset, right? Or grow the mindset that we want, because there's a lot of talk about mindset, but if you don't know how to get there, it's really frustrating.
100%. And that's kind of a good segue when we talk about the guests into the first guest I was going to talk about, who's a gentleman named Kyle Fairley. And he's called the Mind Brain Dude. And what he does is he does similar, if you've heard of, what is it, Dr. Daniel Amen?
Oh, yes. I had the opportunity to hear him speak. He's incredible. He's what he calls himself, a mental hygienist.
Yeah, absolutely, which I love. That's awesome. And so Kyle is in that, just to give people a visual, he's in that same realm. He helps people from a mindset, from a, what's really happening up there, and how we can make real lifelong lasting changes. And so I've known him for quite some time. He's a tremendous speaker. He's been a part of our programs, so our programming for quite some time. Yeah, he's going to be a great speaker, and he's going to, because of his background, he's going to take people to a place where they otherwise might not go, and he's going to be able to show them things about their mind that you might not otherwise know, because that's what he studies. Like, he literally studies inside the mind. And I mean, so that's, I mean, I'm excited to have him on board. We also have Dave Carroll. And so for those who don't know Dave Carroll, you may have heard of his story. You may be, I'll put it this way, because I can't say this about many people. You may be one of the 100 million people who've heard his story. And so what I mean when I say that is Dave Carroll is the creator of the viral video called United Breaks Guitars, about United Airlines breaking his guitar on a flight. And he basically made a video and wrote a song about the experience, cost him $150. And they, in the front of the Hay House book, with the Hay House deal he got, they wrote in there that it cost United Airlines about 10% of their market share in a month, which worked out to $187 million from his $150 video. Basically, it was like a customer service video told from a songwriter about his experience with an airline. And he almost toppled the giant. And it was, I mean, so it was like a true Dave, since his name is Dave versus Goliath story. And it went huge, like 20 million views almost on YouTube. He was featured on CNN, Reader's Digest, The View, you name it, Dave was there. And they say
he flipped his script on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, I told him we're going to talk about that, how he flipped a script even from a musician to a speaker, because it opened the door for him, and an author. It opened the door for him to speak and become an author. And I'll give people a teaser, because, people love to know, they're going to hear the behind the scenes stories of some of the influencers they know. I want to tell you guys and get Dave on to share how he ended up getting a book deal with Hay House. Wow. And the synchronicity that started the chain that allowed him to get a song he wrote about Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle's book in Wayne Dyer's last movie that was made about him searching for his father. And so we're going to talk about how Dave Carroll synchronicized himself. I just made a word, I think, within Wayne Dyer's, Wayne Dyer's world, while Wayne Dyer's was still with us. And he'll talk also about the fact, and he'll go into more detail about how it was Wayne Dyer that helped him get the book deal. So we'll talk about that. So that's obviously it's going to be a big story. We also have this lady. I really think she's the real deal. She's making big things happen in the world, and her name is Ilyse Rothman, and she's going to be joining us as well. So Ilyse, you're going to be a presenter this time as well. Not just
I know. I'm super excited to speak and share. Corey, I went back and listened to the podcast from the bLU Talks out in San Diego. You uploaded the podcast version of the actual talk, and I went back and listened to myself. I don't always go back and listen, honestly. I don't really go back and listen to the interviews with myself in them. And I have to say that, wow, I'm onto something here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's really exciting. We talk about the brain, what is Dr. Kyle?
The mind brain dude.
The mind brain dude, Dr. Amen, and so all of it comes down to perspective at the root. And as an EFT practitioner, my main focus is how the emotions and thoughts really affect who we are at the root, right? At the root of our health, at the root of our happiness, at the root of our relationships, at the root of our abundance. And the whole flip your script concept came about in the fact that we all have negative thought habits. We just do. But it's how we look at these habits and how we can actually flip those habits and use those negative thoughts as an opportunity to figure out who we want to be and how we want to create the world we live in by flipping our perspective, because our perspective will always be our reality. So when our perspective shifts, so some people actually call me a perspective shifter. I help people shift their perspective so they can create the reality that they truly want to live in. So I'm super excited to share. We might even do like a little hands-on tapping session like we did in San Diego, if that's okay. I always like to have a little mini clearing and a little energy session. Why not make it interactive and create some change live? So I'm super excited. I think I'm Friday, actually, the last day, one of the finale days. And I'm not even sure, am I 2:30 or something like that? I think it's Friday the 18th at 2:30. So I'm super excited to be there.
Awesome. Well, we're super obviously excited to have you. And I also, let me see who also I can tell people a little bit about. This is kind of neat. There's a guy named Don Cote, and Don has a thing called LifeWorks University. And what he teaches is he teaches actually the principles of and how to use the teachings of Think and Grow Rich. So he has an online university that they do book study clubs about Think and Grow Rich. So, this is the book that they say has created more millionaires, not that it's about money, but created more millionaires. And I would even argue conscious millionaires than any other book. And this guy studies it cover to cover over and over again. So I think that's going to be really cool, the stuff that he can teach us about what makes Think and Grow Rich work. We're going to have Kimmy. She just goes by Kimmy.
Just Kimmy.
And what's really cool about what she's going to talk about, I think she's going to talk about her brand called #HimToo. And it's not really the hashtag, she just puts it in there. It's really, she calls it the Him Too movement. But it's actually kind of a here's a flipping the script. She wants to talk about men too. And what almost like the Me Too movement, she wants to talk about men, what they go through and how we don't talk about that often. And it seems like it's not cool for men to cry and all that kind of stuff. So she's trying to flip the script on that whole belief around whether it's okay for men to be feminine and men to be like open up their feminine side and share their thoughts and share their emotions and cry and share their experiences and tell, if they've had a traumatic experience, to be okay with sharing that and get it healing. So it's a really, it's very profound. And it's like I said, it's like the Him Too it's like the Me Too movement for him meaning the guys in the world. So it's really cool. And actually to see a female taking on a Him Too movement. It's just, to me, it's just a cool perspective.
I like that perspective because it's about all of us being well-beings together and recognizing, that our thoughts and emotions are really at the root of who we are and how we be.
Absolutely. One of the other guests, I'll just tell people a couple more because, like I said, I won't go down the whole list, but I'm giving you a feel for what kind of knowledge you're probably going to get from this event. But another person that's going to be on the event, she goes by Juju Christopher. So just Juju, I think, almost like Madonna. And yeah, she's absolutely. And she's a mystic. She basically is a spiritual mystic and helps people I guess get to the root of who they really are, but she really focuses on the spirituality side of things and how to unlock that which is holding you back. And it's kind of neat. I met her at the New Media Summit, which is actually going on today, which is a conference that usually I go to every year, and it's virtual today. And I'm actually an icon at the event, juggling between back and forth. But I have my certain times I have to be there for, so then I've been juggling things around it. But that's where I met her, and she was pitching icons, they call them, but basically podcasters that have been around for over 100 shows. And so I got a chance to meet her in person. And it's kind of neat, if you believe in synchronicity. There were only 2 people I did this with, but they got us to stand across from somebody for 5 minutes and stare them in the eyes.
That's powerful right there.
Powerful and scary. It was scary for me.
So, you could feel the energy shift, can't you?
100%. And it's not comfortable for somebody who hasn't done it before, really uncomfortable. And so I'll say not comfortable, but there's obviously you get this feel at a different level than you ever would. You get to almost see inside their soul and all these things that I wouldn't have expected to happen in 5 minutes. Well, interestingly enough, there was only 2 people that happened with, and she was one of them. And I was arranging an interview with, I'm trying to remember who it was, but I was arranging an interview with somebody, and actually Chris, give him a shout out. Chris Cumby connected me with a guy because we were trying, this is kind of interesting, full circle. We were trying to schedule Kevin Harrington for another project. So Kevin Harrington is an original shark off the Shark Tank. He's the creator of the infomercial, the SC on TV. He's the guy who created that. And I was trying to book him for something else. And so I got connected with this guy, this gentleman, and we got talking. And I said, we'd love to have Kevin on. Do you have anybody else? And he goes, have you ever met Julie Christopher? And I'm like, wow, that sounds familiar. Long story short, she said, I'll introduce myself to the guy, whoever it is. She came on the screen, and this was his, he represents her. And this was the girl I met at the New Media Summit. So I'm talking to him separately from that. This is, of all the world, there's only 150 people go to the New Media Summit roughly to pitch. And he was talking about her. And then I saw her, I'm like, oh my gosh, we met at the New Media Summit.
Wow.
I don't know what the odds on that are, but it's got to be low. But here's the full circle synchronicity. Whatever the project, well, I know what it was, but the project that I was working on then we couldn't make it work with Kevin because I would have had to flown there and we couldn't make the schedules work. But interestingly enough, the other event we're doing later this month, Kevin Harrington is opening the event as the keynote.
Wow.
So synchronicity, it all comes full circle.
I'm telling you, there is magic, and the ability to be able to really tap into the power of the way that we think. I believe that at the root of it, our thoughts are like the paintbrush on the canvas of life. And when we can intentionally start training the way that we think to be the actual creator of our life, it is like game changing.
Yeah, synchronicity is something I never put any thought to. I was the guy that thought coincidence all the way through, and my life changed once I started discovering what synchronicity is, and it's gone sort of a 360 flip since I've seen them happen in my life, and then started going, okay, that's a synchronicity, and paid attention, and then I was able to start creating more of them simply by noticing them rather than having them pass me by. And you and I are synchronicity. We've shared that many times.
Yeah.
This Julie circumstance, she was a synchronicity. And so one of the things we'll talk about next week, I imagine, is a little bit more about how to create synchronicities. And we had somebody that's a co-author of our Blue Talks book that just came out. And she talked about the 3 steps to creating synchronicities in your life. And they were very practical steps, which I never heard anybody do that way before. And so I may actually reveal her 3 steps next week as well, just to share them. But yeah, I can go down the list of almost everybody involved in this event and tell you the synchronicities that I've had with these people. The one other person that I thought I would mention is going to be here. He's the only return guest, I think, from the last time, other than you and I, which is Mitch Cambridge. Mitch Cambridge. The business, what does he call himself? The business beast? I think it's the business beast. I might have that wrong, but it's something beast. Oh, no, I was wrong. It's the business savage. He even usually
He's the savage.
And he's really focused on helping you survive in business and beat this whole idea of 90% or 95% fail in the first 5 years. He's trying to help that number change. He tries to teach people, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, here's the 3 or 5 things you have to do, and that all the good to great or built to last companies and people, but here's what they have in common, so that you can bring them into your business. And so Mitch is going to be joining us. But what's really neat about that is you can probably start to see there's going to be talk about synchronicity, it's going to be talk about mindset, but there's also going to be talk about business. And the idea, an ideal, I think, audience for us, at least, is people who are looking to, as a solopreneur or lifestylepreneur, they're looking to make sure that they do survive. They're looking for new strategies. Then we also have the people that are saying, how can I switch my life up? How can I make that switch in my life? And they might be working for somebody else already. They might be running their own business. So I really feel like we have a mix between lifestylepreneurs, employees who are wanting to make a switch, people who are working from home right now and wish they could make a change in their life. And so I really feel like this event delivers on all those levels. I don't know your thoughts, but that's my thinking on it.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to mention, and we've talked about this as well, is that every single day we're going to have tangible sort of, what would we call them? I don't want to call them worksheets or anything like that, but tangible seeds that we want to present to you in a format that you can download and put together, right? If you keep all of these bits of information and start utilizing them and incorporating them in your daily life, you will start to be the creator of what you call synchronicities, what I call perspective shifting and creating reality, right? Because that's what it's all about. When we become the creator, one of the things that you said, Corey, that stood out to me just now is that when you started to pay attention to the synchronicities, you got more synchronicities started to show up. Because what we put our attention towards and our valuable energy and our valuable focus on, we will get, whether we actually really want it or not. So becoming more intentional in what we focus on and recognizing the things that light us up, right, and excite us and we want more of, once we start focusing on those things, we're going to get more of them. Hands down. We're not even in control of that. That's the beautiful thing about it. That's about like maneuvering in this life, right? We have the law of gravity. We have all of these laws of nature, and the law of attraction is really something. But it's Absolutely. How we activate that law of attraction. And at the root of it, it's about perspective and how we see the world through our lens of perspective is our reality. Like you and I right now, we're having two totally different realities. Even though we're right here together, our experiences are different because the perspective that we're looking at this experience from, our lens, right? The lens that we see the world as our perspective is totally different.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And at the same time, it's amazing because we also have those different perspectives that we bring into our conversations, which allows the other person to start having a new perspective. Much like how I compare it is, it's like, if I started reading at age 27 roughly, hadn't read before that. But once I started, I was like 3 books a month. And so the person that I was at the start of that journey versus a year later was a dramatically different person because I was compounding my knowledge. So I was reading 3 books, but then by the next month, I'm bringing the knowledge I got from those 3 books while reading the 4th book and the 5th book and the 6th book. And so to me, it's like compounding. It's like as a speaker, people will say, why should I pay you that much when I can hire another speaker? And I would say, you're not like, and they'll say for that 45 minutes on the stage. And I'd say, you're not hiring me for the 45 minutes on the stage. You're actually paying for the 20 years of experience it's taken me to get to the point that I can deliver like I'm delivering on a stage at that point. Because the guy, if you would have hired me 20 years ago, you shouldn't be paying this much is what you're paying me now, because I wasn't the same person then. I didn't have all the compounding of experience, both on the stage and with the businesses I've worked with. So much the same, I feel like you said, we have unique perspectives, but then even within this next week, I'm going to learn things in this next week that I'm going to carry into everything else I do in the future.
Absolutely. And you know what? The knowledge is available. I mean, not right now with the internet and I mean, the YouTubes and everything's virtual, the knowledge is there. But you know what? Working together with somebody, I just went back and looked at some of the emails that I would get from my clients, because every once in a while, like, you like to check back in and see what's going on. And I actually shared this on my Facebook page, but you know, when somebody comes to you and says, you know what, I've been struggling in the dark for so many years, and we have a conversation and you bring a new light. You have this intuitive sense to know exactly what conversation needs to be had, how to get to the root, pull that weed and help shift my perspective so I can move into the world the way that I've been dreaming of moving into the world. Now, could she have found that information herself, done the work herself to get there? Yes, but it's true. It's like we bring the knowledge, we bring the experience. I mean, I was paralyzed at 18, right? I went through a whole personal experience to recognize how my thoughts and my being and my perspective is not only healing, but creates my reality. So that's what we're bringing to the table. That's what every single speaker who's going to be with us next week is bringing to the table. Their personal experience, their knowledge, right? Their unique ability to take their perspective and share it with somebody who's ready to shift theirs.
100%. I couldn't have said it better. And, you know, I will say too, that you know, you can, as you made it kind of a key point, you can probably get everything you need, both as a business owner and as a person, if you're willing to spend a week or 2 or a month or 3 months or a year on YouTube.
At least.
There's a reason why people don't do that. And now I'll add that some people do, but I'm saying in general, why do people still hire coaches and pay thousands of dollars when they could probably find the answers on YouTube? It's because, first of all, you have to sort through it. Secondly, you just said, if you're looking for it on YouTube, the answer, you probably don't have the perspective yet. You need to deliver on it. So you need somebody to guide you through. You need somebody that can answer a question if you have a question about it. And so to your point, yeah, I mean, people can get the same information in lots of places, but they're not going to have the perspectives of the people that deliver it for us next week. And even when we did the last one, I mean, let's look at, you know, call a spade a spade. I've been in this world for 20 some years, meaning the speaking space, writing, you know, everything, like basically the influencer space, if you want to call it that, for 20 years. And when we did that last event, I probably learned 10 new things. And I say learned, I mean like heard something. I'm like, I've never tried that before. Wow, I've never thought of it that way. I probably learned 10 things in 5 days, you know, at least 2 things a day, as somebody who's already put 20 years into this, and not only put 20 years into it, interviewed over 6,000 people. And I'm still learning new things when I come into this event. So to me, it's the day we stop growing is the day we start dying. And so, but what I love about this is the stuff's curated for you. You know, we're bringing people on, we're saying they only have 25, 30 minutes to find a way to get it to you, this knowledge. You get to even ask questions at the end. So it's a lot more interactive. And also we've curated so you're not have to go through 10 hours of YouTube videos to find the same answer. So I'm really stoked about it.
Yeah, me too. And I just want to make add a little extra point on to what you just said about making comments. I believe that when we share the link, they're going to have to sign into StreamYard and give Facebook permission so we can see who they are in StreamYard as they're commenting, so we can refer to them and answer their questions personally and have our guest speakers answer those questions personally as well.
Absolutely. Well, like last time around, I mean, Ilyse and I will be doing triple duty, watching for questions, taking turns watching those questions, making sure everybody's questions get answered. I really like to believe, and I might be wrong, but I really like to believe if we went back and looked at the 5 previous days of speakers we had, I don't think we left anything, I don't think we left anything sitting on the table. I think every question that was asked was answered for that whole week.
Absolutely. And another thing too is before next week, over the weekend, I just want to suggest and welcome everybody to hop on to the bLU Talks Flip Your Script Experience page. And there is a section that has downloadable files. Every day after the speakers during the first event, I created a one sheet with very specific tips, or mind seeds as I call them, that I pulled out from each of the speakers. And you can go and download those and take a look at them over the weekend, because all of this information is incredibly valuable and it's simple. I got to be honest. I like things simple. Very simple, easy to apply in my everyday living, because I love to travel. I love to have experiences. I'm a hands-on kind of gal. And so to sit there and do these long courses and programs, really not my jam. So I've personally created these one sheets for each of the 5 days. They're still available to download. Go to the Flip Your Script virtual bLU Talks virtual experience group, download those, and then download the ones that we're going to create for each of the days coming up, okay? Because this way you can have them in a little binder and you can go back and refer to them. Simple things like eyes on your own paper. What does that mean? Keep your eyes on your own heart. Who are you in relationship to the world? Instead of putting all your energy out there and needing the world to change for you to be happy, eyes on your own paper. You can take that one thing with you every day. It's a game changer. I promise you. Your world will change immediately.
Absolutely.
So those are the kind of mind seeds that are available. And we're going to create one for each of the days next week as well. I will make sure of that.
100%. Well, Ilyse Rothman, I want to keep to our promise of the 30-minute Flip Your Script Fridays. So is there anything else you wanted to add? We did put the link in the comments, and I put, just because we were talking about the Mind Brain Dude, I put Kyle's Facebook profile in there as well. So yeah, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Right. Well, we did talk about the upcoming Flip Your Script Fridays. Obviously, there won't be a Flip Your Script Friday on the 18th because we will be in the middle of the virtual experience. There are some changes that are being made backstage for this experience. There's a lot of interviews coming up and there's a lot to choose from. So what we're working on together is creating a more interactive platform to create something a little bit different from the Flip Your Script Fridays. Maybe it's going to be a 21-week experience where you can plant mind seeds and have bands and have something that you can actually work towards and incorporate in your life that's consistent. So you come back each week and join us and share your experience. But there'll be more details about that in the upcoming weeks.
Awesome stuff. Well, Ilyse, this has been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to seeing everybody next week, Monday through Friday, 14th to the 18th. 1 p.m. Eastern to it's 3:30, I think. I'm still getting used to
1 to 3:30 Eastern, and then on Wednesday, I believe it's until 4:30.
Yes, 100%. We have a special guest coming on Wednesday. Such a special guest that I expanded the day to add another person in just to make it all work. Yeah, and I didn't mention his name because I'm going to leave him as a surprise guest. But if you're really if you're really clever, and if you do this, I'm willing for it to be revealed. You can go look at the flyer, and you can figure out who we didn't talk about that might be a special guest on there as well. So, but either way, we're going to be back next week, Monday to Friday, as mentioned. Join us here at 1 p.m. Eastern, as noted as well. If you haven't registered yet, you can go to bluetalks.com/experience, and the link is in the comments here, at least on Facebook. I'm going to go put it on each other platform. And other than that, if you have questions for us, let us know. We're both pretty easy to reach.
Yeah, and share, like, invite family and friends. Come if you can't make it the whole week, come one day. It doesn't matter. Come for an hour, right? So whatever you're going to get out of it, you're going to get out of it. And we are going to have the replays available as well. But being live is a little bit different than watching a replay. I will say that for myself personally.
Yeah, I'm of the same, and also I like being able to ask questions if I have them in real time. And I will add too, because this is something really important, is if you want to and you're so inclined, if you're homeschooling now because you decide not to bring your kids back to school, maybe this is a part of your homeschooling this week. Maybe you can watch it with them.
Absolutely. It's family friendly for sure. And when you start planting mind seeds in your children's minds and teaching them how to think intentionally, at a young age, I have so many clients that are from the ages of like 7 to 11. And I have to tell you, they are my faves. They get it. They teach me every time we work together. They help me plant mind seeds that I haven't even thought of. So I'm telling you, give your kids a lot more credit, because when they start recognizing that their thoughts matter, their words matter, their beliefs matter, their intentions matter, their perspective matters at a young age. A lot of us adults wouldn't be going through what we're going through now if we were taught that at a young age. I know I wouldn't. I'm just speaking for myself.
Yeah, I agree. I go to, of course, not recently, but I go to live events like a Brendan Burchard event, and I'll see a parent there with 3 of her kids. And I'm like, those kids automatically are already going to have a head start over most children. Whether we like that or not, if you're learning that stuff, and even if somebody's listening to this and let's say Brendan's not your dude, it doesn't matter. He's bringing in 10 speakers. Somebody is their dude or dudette, and that person could make one comment for a 10-year-old that changes everything forever.
A 7-year-old, a 6-year-old. I'm telling you, from the age of 0 to 7, that's when we're wide open to learn. And if we had intentional thought training we go to the gym, we go to art class, we go to music class, but if we were taught to think intentionally and that our words and thoughts truly have power, they drive our energy. They're at the root of our health, our well-being. Like so important. So absolutely, I love it. Bring your kids, bring your family, show up, bring drinks, and have lunch with us.
Absolutely, 100%. So, Ilyse, we had a couple minutes over, but you and I get passionate about this, so it's all good. So, thank you so much, Ilyse, for joining me today to talk about this. I'll thank you in advance for next week for joining me on this whole adventure again. And everybody, we can't wait to see you 1 p.m. Eastern. It's kind of talk about interesting, I won't call it coincidences, but last time we did this, Ilyse was moving into her place. And this time around, Shelly and I just bought a place, and we're moving in this week to it. So the good part is, one of the great things about the way we do this day, it's a 2.5 hour, give or take on either side. And so I can do the moving around that. But it's interesting how you and I booked the dates before we even thought about buying the house. So there's something to do with us moving during this time. I don't know what's going to happen on the third time. I don't know what possibly could happen, but either way, it's amazing. You were moving and now I'm moving. I don't know what the odds on that happen.
Well, it's all about moving forward. It's all about expanding and growing. So at least we're walking our talk, dude. We're walking our talk.
100%. Awesome. Right. Well, thanks, my friend Ilyse. Thanks everybody for joining us.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
100%. Have a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Corey, thank you. I appreciate you so much.